Man, today, the reason why I'm on this live stream is I can't even tell you how many times I've seen people lose absolutely everything because of insurance. At one point in time at a financial planning firm, we talked about taxes, overseas trusts, all the things that people talk about on social media where they're like, hey, avoid all taxes and keep more money and all the fun stuff. That's what I used to do. And then one day I woke up and I was like, man, how on earth can I keep seeing in my DMs from one advertisement I put up about cash value life insurance being a scam? How can I keep seeing this and not doing anything about it? I've seen at least over the last 2 months, I've seen at least 10 people completely just blow their finances up because they have a policy that they overfund. So I just want to give you three clients really quick. The most recent was a guy, I won't give names. He works as a blue collar person, and he was putting, I believe it was like $1,000 a month into his cash value life insurance policy that was set up by an MLM company, set up by somebody who had no rights, writing any kind of financial product at all. With that being said, that person was not eating at night. That person was quote unquote stealing food from work. They were eating more donuts if they brought donuts to make themselves full. They would, anytime a company card was presented, go get more bags of chips, that type of thing. And it was because this person said, hey, if you fund this policy with $1,000 a month, you'll have so and so output. And what sucks is that person did it for 2.5 years. They put in, I think it was like $40,000 total. He would drop in bonuses per diem and stuff like that. And he called us or he sent me a DM like, hey, I want you to check out my policy, make sure it's set up correctly. I see a lot of the things that you talk about. I wish I would have saw you 2.5 years ago when I started this. And what I did is I just reviewed it. We looked at the policy and I said, hey man, this is going to be really bad news for you. You said that your families went without. You haven't been on a vacation in years. You haven't eaten dinner, like, but maybe one time a week because you're overfunding this policy. And unfortunately, you have no value. You've put thousands and thousands of dollars into this policy and you have nothing. You have nothing to look for. You have nothing to look for in the future. You have no cash value to borrow from right now. So unfortunately, you put in a fourth year paycheck every single year for almost 3 years and it's all gone. And he just could not believe it. The grown man about cried right in front of me because he's like, man, you heard my story. I put my entire life into this thing to try to play catch up for retirement to take care of my family. And the unfortunate thing is, all you can do is you can turn in that agent to the insurance commissioner and you can say, hey, please, this person screwed me over. Can I get my money back? And most of the time, we found you put everything in, you put all the evidence in, and nothing happens. It'll go a year and a half, and nothing will happen. And unfortunately, that's just the way this game works. So the reason why the reason why life insurance has such a bad name is because of these situations. So that was number one. Number two was a family. They came here from Africa. They were in IT and something else. They made pretty good money. They made like I think it was 500 grand a year, and they wanted to put $150,000 a year away between husband, wife, and 4 kids. So they did the first year. They put into a Transamerica IUL, which at this point, if you've watched any of my content, you know that Transamerica IULs aren't even really IULs. They're the worst policy that exists by far, even if you set it up right. So, with that being said, we looked at that policy, and for 11 years, they would not have a drop of value. So, they would have put in about $1.3 million total into that policy before they had a dollar of value. And that's if the stock market did exactly what it was supposed to do, 7 to 8% return every single year. That family ended up, 35 days. So they had a 30-day free look period that they could have canceled that policy and got a refund. And they didn't. They waited 35 days to contact me. It was too late. Couldn't find out it was her cousin. She didn't want to get in. She's just like, oh, I don't want my cousin to get in trouble. Well, your cousin just cost you $150,000. And you told me where they came from, which their IMO only pays about 40% commission. So of that 150, that person only made like 60 grand. I say only because they couldn't even have returned all the money. They couldn't have said, hey, sorry for screwing you over. Here's all your money back. Unfortunately, that is exactly what happened. So we canceled that policy. We started 5, 6 new policies with a lot less because they were afraid, like, hey, I don't want this to happen again. And 2 years in, their cousin, the one that screwed them over, came in and was like, "No, that guy's a liar. Here's the proof." They came and re-questioned me. I bashed every single argument they had, and they just canceled everything. They said, "Okay, we're just going to put all of our money into our business." And that sucks. So they literally spent $300,000 total over 2.5 years, and it's all gone because they cashed everything out early, got hit with penalties, and the cousin was a stick in the mud from an MLM company. It's just so unfortunate. Then the last one, I just want to talk about this one because this person was actually recruited. A lady here in Texas had a neighbor that their kids played on sports teams together and all this stuff. Come to find out, that guy was a high level agency owner at an MLM, thousands and thousands of agents. And unfortunately, he was like, "Hey, you have an old 401k from a business. Let's do this." Completely screwed the person over. 3 years in, not a drop of value or not a drop of growth. So with a fixed indexed annuity, you're supposed to have at least a 0% floor. So if the market crashes, you don't lose value. If the market goes up, you hit a cap. So I think the cap was like 9% on the S&P 500. So over the last 3 years, you would have hit the cap every year. So 27% growth. With that being said, they were in some kind of crazy index that didn't exist. Everybody was pushing it. We knew better because we looked into the actual P's and Q's of it all. And that person got 1% return in 3 years. So they came to me and was like, "Hey, look at this. Tell me what's wrong with it." We looked at it. We quote unquote fixed it. It was not a fix by any means. It was just stopping the bleeding. And then they also put a lump sum from the sale of, I think it was a parents passed away and they left like $20,000 in cash behind. Put that lump sum into a policy and then completely just like lived on ramen for a whole year to fund it for $24,000 extra per year. So total, by the time they came to me, they put in $70,000. They had $4,000 of value. So the reason why I'm telling you any of these stories at all is because there have been people that trusted people with everything, family, neighbors, coaches, and they're like, "Hey, you say this is all right. You showed me the illustration. You're really slick with your tongue. I believe you." And at the end of the day, they got shafted. They lost, this is a total of like $450,000 just between three clients in the last 3 months, 2 months. So if I was to go over the last 4 years that I've seen this happen to people, I've seen maybe $4 million completely gone, just poof, because somebody chose their commission, the money that they made over the client, over the person that was trying to do better by their family and do better in their life. So again, that's all I wanted to jump on here and talk about is really, really, really vet who you are talking to. Really vet what you're purchasing and why. And I don't like it when people do it to me. I'm not going to lie. If they come on and I give them the full spill and I literally explain everything, and then they come to me like, "Hey, send me the fees page. Let's have 5 more calls and let's go line by everything." I understand why you would do that. But when people come to me, it's because they've been on my page and they've watched hundreds of videos and they understand that I'm not lying to them and I'm not trying to pull a fast one on them and I'm actually fixing their problem in the first place. So when they do it to me, I do get a little upset. But if you meet with somebody and you have no background on them or someone just referred you over, you need to walk through everything. And I would implore you to get Chat GPT and say, "Hey, I have an agent trying to pitch me this policy with this carrier. This is the premium I'm putting in. And in 20 years, this is what the projected value is." Just do something, spit something at it, and it will say, "Oh, based on this, and that." It will literally give you everything you need to know that I would tell you. So why not just use AI? Just at least try to use AI. If 5 minutes of using AI will save you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, why not? And to kind of sign this off, even if you set up a policy that's underfunded and it looks like it's going to work on your illustration, by the time you get to retirement age, the fees will be ridiculous. I'm talking 10% fees. Most people would freak out if they knew they were paying 2% fees in their 401k, but you are 10% fees. So what that means is even if you have value and it looks like it will work, we're talking 6 years, maybe 10 years, you'll actually be able to take retirement income from that policy and then it's all gone. It crashes. And guess what happens when it crashes? You have a tax bill. So if you put in $200,000 and it's worth 600 and you pull $60,000 a year for 10 years and the policy lapses, you have $400,000 of growth and you have to pay long-term capital gains on that. So now at least 100 grand, if not 150 grand, you owe in taxes. So you're in retirement, you're struggling already. You set up all your plans over your lifetime to make sure this doesn't happen. And now you owe, was that 3 years of retirement income and taxes? So again, make sure you know who you're choosing. vet everyone, and man, oh man, I can't even tell you. Even if you don't follow me, at least take what I say and double check it. It'll run it through multiple sources. Never trust one source. Never think that one person knows everything. Because what you find out is most of the time in the middle. If I say something, Dave Ramsey says something, it's probably something like right here. So again, man, don't get screwed, don't get shafted, and make sure you watch out for yourself. Appreciate it, guys.